Hey, welcome everybody. This is Mike with Riding in the Ozarks, and tonight is a live stream. It's on YouTube and Facebook, and sometimes I take these live streams down like within 24 hours, and I turn around and I edit them up and I re-release them as a podcast. So if you're watching this live and you don't get to hang out for everything, check back in a few days and see if there's a podcast on it. If you're catching the podcast version and you would like to participate in the live audience when we're doing this, head over to YouTube, subscribe to Riding in the Ozarks. Make sure you set that bell notification to all so you're notified when we go live, and then you can get in the chat and participate in the shenanigans and the stuff that goes on here in the show. So I'm your host, Mike. Normally we have Firecracker, but she's on hiatus. I'll explain that in a minute. She might be here later. My buddy Bagger Bader is here, and we have a special guest tonight. This is Craig from Ozarks Rides.
Howdy.
And they have a podcast, Random Thoughts from the Road. Is that correct, Craig?
That's it. That's it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the Ozark Rides Rally, some other events here coming up, and we're going to talk about sidecars because I was teasing Craig earlier because I thought he would be a great guest for this because I believe he might recall when they first came out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the wheel. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So, all right. So I guess let's get into the events that are coming up first and stuff. And, then we'll talk about a recap of the Ozark Rides Rally. And the next big event that's coming up is my boy Steve's event in his hometown that he's helping out with. So, Steve, tell him what this is about. And, Craig, you can grill him if he doesn't explain it very well because you don't know anything about it.
That's right.
Yeah. So, coming this Saturday, we have the 9th annual Big Ass Poker Run. It starts out at Worth Harley Davidson up north by the airport. And a good friend of mine runs this. He uses some of the proceeds to go to some charities. And he really wants this to be a premier event in the Midwest. And he's been a biker all his life. He's been to Sturgis like 35 times, something like that. And so his heart's in the right place, and he puts a lot of effort into this deal. And with the $5,000 first place prize, his goal is to make this the largest payout in the country for a poker run. And playing a big part in this is Schmidt Law Firm has come on as someone that's helping out with this. And so last year, as you know, it was like 98 degrees. So we moved it up a little bit into May. So on May 20th, if you check your weather app, it's supposed to be 72 perfect degrees.
That's ideal.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get a huge turnout. If you know of anybody in the Kansas City area that loves to ride, let them know about this opportunity. It's a $20 entry fee to get a poker hand. And you don't have to ride a motorcycle. You can be in a car, truck, doesn't matter. As long as you got something licensed to be, to operate, you can participate. So we're hoping for a big turnout.
Is the marina on the stops again?
Marina is not on this year's stop.
Oh, okay.
Probably next year. We'll see.
Probably next year. Yeah. No, who wants to go to a marina with a pool and a bunch of girls in a bikini? I mean, that doesn't sound like that would appeal to bikers at all.
Yeah. Who says Kansas doesn't have beautiful scenery?
All right. So that is next weekend. You guys, you can find more about that. They have Steve has a Facebook group called The Road. And he runs that Facebook group and stuff, and it's always posted in there. It's posted on my Facebook group. But if you don't know, go back and rewind and pause when I put that poster up. I'm sure there's contact information on there. You can call Worth Harley Davidson. They'll know about what the schedule is or anything else if you need to know more.
And there's also a Facebook page, Big Ass Poker Run. So they can go to that.
All right. So I'm going to mention real quick, I don't have a flyer for this, But the Mid-America Freedom Rally is where I will be the next weekend. We can't make the $5,000 poker run this year. I did it last year, but this year it's graduation weekend. And so we have a graduation going on and we weren't going to make it. So we've also are going to be out Saturday supporting a friend of mine who's got cancer. They're doing a local poker run for him. And we've gotten some great donations from the Leatherman and from the Cat House and several places. And we're going to do a poker run for him and a silent auction and try and help raise some money to help him with some of his medical expenses. But then the weekend after that is Memorial Day weekend. And Craig, I know you've heard of the Mid-America Freedom Rally. We were talking about that. I'm trying to talk Bagger Bader into coming down there, but I don't know if he should come. As sexy as he is, he might get dragged off in the woods by all the girls. What do you think?
Well, it'd be detrimental to his health.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, the Mid-America Freedom Rally is on Memorial Day weekend. This rally is going on its 34th year. We do this in honor of our troops. And that is what this is about. We've had people say we should move it to another weekend. Here's the deal. If we don't have it that weekend, we're not having it. That's what it's about. So, if you've got something else you'd rather do, that's cool. We understand it. But that weekend, we're going to do our thing. And our thing includes, bike games, bite the weenie, some human games where people strip down to their underwear and roll around the hay blindfolded and grope each other. The good stuff. And then we have vendors.
Good family fun.
Yeah, good family fare. You bet.
Yeah. Hide the beer can in the hay bale and send everybody in to get it blindfolded and half naked. That is a lot of fun.
That sounds like a blast.
Sure.
We have a bike show. We have live entertainment every night. This year, we've got Hell's Bells and Night Train, 2 tribute bands on Saturday night. And you get all of this fun for $35 for the whole weekend. And that includes your tent camping. And that's it. You can buy alcohol on the grounds or you can bring your own in. It's on a private campground at the Shriners in Pulaski County. If that wasn't enough, on Sunday, we have a special service honoring our veterans on Saturday night, and we do a big Rolling Thunder at midnight. We take a wreath over to the Veterans Cemetery nearby at Fort Leonard Wood and put that out on Sunday and stuff. So it really is. We have a good time and we do a lot of other stuff, but it is about honoring our veterans and remembering them. And, just because there's a wet t-shirt contest and a Miss Freedom contest, which is skin to win. And then I heard a rumor Craig was coming down to enter the Mr. Buns contest.
Well, I was thinking about entering the wet t-shirt contest.
Oh, think you got something for them?
It's all on the jiggle.
Well, the good news is there is no skin to win. Skin disqualifies you on the wet t-shirt contest, so you'll be okay there.
Oh man.
But so that's what we'll be doing Memorial Day weekend. That is a really good time. Hey guys, I want to take just a quick second here and thank one of the new supporters of the channel. If you're ever in an accident and you live in Missouri or Kansas, you need to call Ben Schmidt. He's a personal injury attorney, so it doesn't matter if it's a motorcycle or car accident, he's going to look out for you. Ben is not just an attorney though. He's an avid motorcyclist and he is supporting motorcycle events here in Missouri and Kansas as well. Coming up in early June, it looks like we're going to go to the Ozark Mountain Rumble Rally. Have you guys heard about this one yet? This is just started last year.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know anything about it. I'm hoping that maybe you can shed a little more light on it because it sounds fun.
Yeah, well, last year they had it in Lampe, and Charlie Fagan put this on with some help from some other people. I don't know who all was involved, but he's kind of the man behind the scenes on this deal. And if you don't know who Charlie Fagan is, he runs a Facebook group with 250,000 people in it called the Harley Davidson Flea Market. But I had him on the show here a while back. He was in one night. Remember that, Steve? The guy that was talking about they give away stuff for kids. They do bike giveaways and different things. He came in later. He came in later, I think, when we were talking about IFR or the spring fling thing.
I do remember him, yeah.
Yeah, so Charlie's the guy behind this, and they're going to have stuff going on in Rogers and Eureka Springs. The stunt show, there's live entertainment at the Cat House. There's a swap meet on Saturday. This is the Cat House's kind of flyer on. It's one I could grab real quick. They're going to have a bikini contest with $250 cash prize at the Cat House. So, typical biker stuff. It's going to be a good time. But Jeff invited us down. So I think we're going to try and run down there in early June and check that out. And then, of course, later in June is my camp out. Now, Craig, I know you said you're just getting back into riding, and I don't know if you're up for a camp out, but there is a beautiful campground, if you've never checked it out, called Big Rock Candy Mountain down in Jadwin, Missouri, about 30 miles southeast of Raleigh. It's south just below Salem there.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got an in-ground pool that is saltwater pool on top of a mountain. They've got cabins, nice shower facilities, hammocks, primitive tent camping, RV spots. He's got some cabins on there if you're not into roughing it. They have a full restaurant and bar on the grounds. They've got everything you need. You don't need to leave at all if you don't want to. We're going to have some live entertainment that weekend, but we're going to do a ride. And you know where Uranus, Missouri is, of course.
I do.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to leave Jadwin, and to get to Uranus, we have to go through Licking. So it's going to become the Licking Uranus ride. and we're going to ask for some donations, and we're going to take those donations and we're going to give them to a prostate cancer,
Perfect.
You fund some kind of, 501c or something related to that. I've already done a little research, but we'll just mail them a check with whatever we get, just to do something cool and fun.
Perfect.
And, I guess, July, I just found out about this deal, the Cassidy bike run. Have you ever heard about that?
No.
So Steve knows about it. Steve, you want to kind of maybe fill him in on the do's and don'ts and what the story is behind it?
So I've gone one time. It was back in 2016 because I still had my Road King. And I didn't know enough about it, to be honest. We got a late, what I guess now is a late start. We got down there. It's about 3 hours south of Kansas City. And by the time we got there, it was about noon, and it's over. It's really a morning event. I think they serve breakfast and that sort of thing. So we missed out on really pretty much the whole deal. But what I've learned about it is it's dry. There's no alcohol served there. And it's more about getting together and fellowship with other riders. And there seemed to be a lot of Christian-based organizations there. So I kind of had a bad experience because I didn't know enough about it, to be candid. But it is the largest motorcycle event in Kansas. It has to be by far. It does attract several thousand riders pretty often throughout the summer. So, and I think it's the
first Sunday of every
first
month.
Sunday of each month. Yeah. From, I think, March through September.
October, I believe.
Is it October? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking sounds like for us, we're going to leave out on a Saturday. Me and Craig were talking earlier, and he agreed the route was to take 54 across Missouri and into Kansas and stay off the interstate. And that'll be the most scenic route and stuff, which means, Craig, what time's breakfast?
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Okay. Well, I'll take leftovers.
Okay.
So, yeah, we are, we'll be probably leaving Saturday morning sometime reasonable. There is a museum out there, and I've got the name of it. I got to look it up, but it'll be in my video. I'm sure I'll do a video on this, but they're in Augusta, Kansas, which is just south of Cassidy. There is a motorcycle museum, and I've been told it has the most running Indian motorcycles that a well-qualified person named Malcolm has ever seen. So if Malcolm says it's
going to start listening to Malcolm now,
well,
you've gone astray.
Maybe, but he's coming around. He did buy a chopper.
Bought a big dog.
He bought a big dog. So, he's coming around. We're working on him. We're getting him there. But Malcolm says there's a really good museum there. There's my buddy Jerry, River Bluff Baggers. Jerry, I think, has done Jerry's probably done the Cassidy run. I think they did a video on it and stuff. But we're going to do the Cassidy run, bike run in July 2nd. So we'll go out on Saturday, try and get there early enough, check out the museum, check into the hotel. We'll pack our own alcohol just in case. I don't know. I mean, do they have dry counties in Kansas, Steve?
It's not, I didn't know. There is not that I'm aware of. Now, I believe there is like a quick shop, convenience store on the kind of the west end of town. Whether they serve alcohol and sell beer in there, I don't know.
Right. So I'll pack a flask. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'll survive on that.
You're pretty smart. You'll figure something out.
They make coolers for the saddlebag.
Well, I know, but then I can't take the drone.
Oh,
Because I gotta take tools. I don't. There are three things, and you guys, if you got something you want to add to this, but there are three things I don't leave home without: tools, medical kit, and my battery jumper and tire inflator. Those things stay in the bike all the time, and then if I got room for cameras and then whatever else, but the flask that pretty well stays in the bike all the time too. That's for medicinal purposes. That's
Right.
I
part
can't
of the medical kit.
Right. I can't carry prescription drugs without a prescription. So we just have to carry some old smoky salted caramel.
There you go.
Speaking of that, I see a green label back there behind you, Craig. Are you drinking water? Or are you drinking something else tonight?
In the glass here.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this?
That is
that tequila?
It's Patron or tequila, one of the two.
It is vodka.
Vodka. Oh, really?
It's that Dan Aykroyd Crystal Skull vodka.
Mm.
And it is very good. The green bottle is Jack Daniel. This is actually Randy's, my podcast partner's bottle. And he drinks it with a straw and an umbrella. It's Jack Daniel's Tennessee apple whiskey.
Ooh.
Well, I think Jerry said they did the run last year, one weekend. I think he should get two wheels and come do it again in July. Now he's on a time crunch.
Hey, Jerry, give us another comment just real quick. Did you enjoy it? Was it worth going down? Just something quick. Give us a little more response. I'd like to hear it.
So, I think it'll be interesting. For me, I've not rode 54 probably much past Craig's place. So for me, I'm going to ride 54 into another state. It's going to be another adventure. Not every adventure has to be a wild party with naked chicks. I mean, we'll get that Memorial Day weekend. So, we can hold off till July and do something else. But it'll be a 700-mile round trip for breakfast. So,
there should be a lot of people there. I mean, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll check out a cool museum. We'll have breakfast. And I mean, it's kind of one of those things, but I mean, that is kind of part of what I love about motorcycling. It's just getting up and going and doing something new. I love riding in the Ozarks, but I take it for granted because I grew up here and I've been riding it all my life. And going to Arkansas gets me on some different roads and stuff. But I think, not that I'm thrilled with Kansas's terrain, but it'll be a new experience. And if nothing else, it'll make me appreciate the Ozarks when I get back.
It will absolutely do that. I have ridden across Kansas many, many, many times. It's an adventure. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Right. So
I didn't say what kind of adventure.
Right. But that'll be good. Hey, there's Stevie's in the chat. Evening all. Hey, buddy. So I expect the chat to get a lot busier once Monkey's video's over. Yeah. I've been stalling. We're 18 minutes in. I'm covering events and everything else. So, real quick, in July, besides the Cassidy run, is going to be middle of July is when Adam's going to run into Milwaukee for the 120th celebration to end his convoy. And I want to give him a shout out for those of you that don't know. If anybody doesn't know, if you've been under a rock, he's raising money for the Wounded Warriors Project. Adam doesn't touch the money. I was there and donated at the beginning when he started at Spring Fling at Pig Trail Harley Davidson. You give somebody else the money, they're handling all that stuff. He's just doing the riding and the promoting, and he's the guy that's going to do 120 dealerships in 83 days or something. I mean, he's going to do like
35,000 miles, 25 to 30.
Yeah, 25, I think 28,000, something like that, in 83 days. And it doesn't matter what the weather is. He's got a time schedule. He has to be at these dealerships at a specific time. Nothing can hold him back. So he has got to make this happen. Harley Davidson donated a motorcycle. Have you seen that motorcycle, Craig?
No, I haven't.
So they gave him a brand new 120th anniversary Road King Road Glide to go do the ride on. Brand spanking new. He has done a bunch of custom stuff, put his own bars and exhaust on it and things to set up that he can live on it for 83 days and be as comfortable as possible. And when he's done, he's going to give it away to someone who registered to win it at one of the stops. No purchase necessary. You didn't even have to donate. You just had to be there and sign up when he was at one of the stops, and you could win that motorcycle.
That's very cool.
It is. So we'll give Adam a shout out. I hope pray he continues to have good weather and good luck, no mechanical issues. Those are the kinds of things I worry about for him. But we're talking, and the more we talk about it, the more it looks like we may end up in Milwaukee when he gets there, which would be really cool to me to be able to be there when he started and then be there when he ended. And somebody's wanting to help me make that happen. So that'd be a really cool thing if we get to have that happen.
You bet.
I think somebody's home.
Uh-oh.
She's coming down the steps.
Fire.
She said, she texted me a minute ago, said she was headed home. So
and you failed to lock the door?
It wouldn't do any good. She's got a key and a garage door opener. So Jerry says they have a video on the Cassidy run. Cal said it was a great cause on I'm sure talking about Adam. So we got Jay Sorsby in the chat and HDAV Traveler. And, now some of these guys you may know and some of you may not, Craig. I know you're you watch some YouTube, but you're kind of new as the content creator aspect, right?
Right. I've just been, basically I've been out and about doing all the rides and things as a lone rider. I really kind of get into my mojo just being out there by myself and discovering new roads and stuff. And that's why I came up with a website. Just, retired. And if you don't do something, you die. So
we'll take a second here and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You got a telltale sign on the wall there behind you. So first, everybody's going to want to know, what are you riding? So just go ahead and own it.
Badass Victory.
So I got to see his victory. I got to see his victory this weekend. And I promise you, I've never seen one like it. That's for sure.
And you never will. It is a one of a kind. And I have to tip my hat to Randy, my podcast partner. He's a master fabricator and, great mechanic. He has his own shop and he did a lot of the custom work on it. And it's all steel. Nothing, you can't buy parts for that bike, custom parts. So everything is hand fabricated and he did a great job on it.
So one of the things what's the feature, and I know what I think it is, but what's the feature that draws everybody's eye to it first thing, what they ask about?
Two things that they ask about. Usually what draws their eye to it first is it's a air ride. So when I park it, it drops on the ground. And they kind of look at it puzzled and go, don't you scrape a lot? And so I explain that. And then all of a sudden they draw in to the jockey shift. Yeah. And they look at that and they say, well, did that come from the factory like that? Or, where's the clutch? And
sure, that's curious. Factory, right?
Yeah, it's factory. Yeah,
every victory had a freaking jockey shift.
They all do. Sure. And it's got an old, the handle on it or the ball on it is from early 1900s New York City apartment. And it's a crystal glass doorknob.
Cool.
And it's pretty cool. Yeah. The only thing it has in common with the Harley Davidson is I put some police bags on it from a Harley and stretched them. And what else is on there that's from a Harley?
So Craig,
nothing. It runs great.
When you stretched your bags, are they made out of metal?
No, the bags are the only thing that's not metal. They're glass.
Okay.
And the fenders and everything that are all stretched, we put a large front wheel on it. Those are all had to be custom made. The axles had to be custom machined because, that model of Victory, nobody made anything special for it. It started out as a 2003 V92 TC. And if anybody knows what that is, it is quite possibly one of the ugliest bikes ever made. But mechanically, it's rock solid. And I have been back and forth across the country, coast to coast, many, many times on that bike, and it's never failed me. I thought about getting a new Indian or something, but I thought this one won't stop running. So when it does, I'll probably be long gone.
Hey guys, I want to give a shout out. I have a new member here. Scott Mullins just became a YouTube member.
Yeah, all right.
There you go.
All you got to do to get YouTube members is buy them drinks when they show up to go on the guided ride with you. So
It's that simple.
It's that simple. You just got to buy their love, buy their loyalty. It's
There you go.
that's it. So
That sounds like a politician.
So we'll jump into the Ozark Rides Rally real quick and kind of let everybody give their perspective on that. Bagger Bader asked me earlier what it was like, or how it turned out. I would say do you think the attendance was up or down this year?
It was definitely down.
That's kind of what I thought too.
Jack at the dealership, he always puts on a good rally and a good show and what have you. This year, for whatever reason, it just seemed like it didn't draw as many people, though there were quite a few people there.
But so I know Stacy was involved in planning this before, and Stacy is no longer with Lake of the Ozarks Harley Davidson. But one of their concerns was that people were torn between it and Magic Dragon, which is their big car show at Lake of the Ozarks, because they had it on the same weekend last year. But I wonder if that didn't give people two things to do, and a lot of people that were in town from Magic Dragon came over there, or people were more likely to come to the car show or come to the dealership for a few hours, knowing they could go on down to the car show if they got bored. I don't know if it hurt them or it helped them. It obviously was looking like attendance was down this year.
Well, the weather didn't help at all on Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say the weather wasn't the best.
Well, one of the guys that showed up for our guided ride wasn't even there to ride with me. He just happened to get rained out on Thursday. Hold on here, guys. We have a celebrity coming into the show. There she is.
Oh, fire!
I'm bringing on the eye candy.
Is that she who must be obeyed?
She'd like to hear that. Can you hear him?
I can't hear.
You can't hear?
No.
So
Mike, when you vote on stuff, does she get 51% of the vote?
It's more like 70, but yeah.
But who's counting?
On that, hang on a second. On that volume button, make sure the button's pushed down and it's lit up.
It is lit up.
All right. So we'll just unplug the speakers or unplug the headphones and try using your speakers, honey. But so they had two motorcycles they gave away as the first place prize this year, two Sportsters. I thought that was great. That was a step up from previous years. They had the guided rides, which this year I led a guided ride. And I thought that was pretty cool. I had a good time doing it. I think the people that went with me had a good time. And they had live entertainment there. They had Fat Mike and the Bartenders this year. Was a great band. They had a good show of vendors, I thought, for it. I mean, for this kind of rally, not huge vendors, but
I think the only thing that they didn't have that they had last year that was a big draw was that what do they call it, the Globe of Death, which a lot of people came out to see that.
Yeah, that's badass.
Have you got your sound working yet, hon?
Yep.
All right. Are you on speakers?
No,
How many fingers am I holding up?
one.
There you go.
That's not a nice finger.
Yeah, but he washed it.
Depends on how you use it.
So military biker say he'd love to make it down to the Ozarks one day. Mike will have to be my guide mate. Absolutely. As long as you don't mind stopping at every bar we come to. So the guy did
a quick question if I can.
Sure.
I don't know much about this rally. Is this put on by the Harley Davidson dealership there at the Lake of the Ozarks?
Jack puts the event on. He gets some local sponsors to help him with some of the costs. They had shirts, and the shirts, of course, have like the different sponsors on there. Some different businesses sponsored some of the guided rides to help cover the cost of, putting that out and advertising for it. And then, so they had rides to Bennett Springs. They had the ride we did was called the Stover Loop. I'll throw it up here on the map. We started at the Harley dealer and went north up through Eldon, across to Versailles and Stover and back down. And we came across this bar called Whiskey Dick's. And of course, who can pass up a Whiskey Dick? So we had to stop, have a drink, and then we come on down 5 and back into Camdenton and stuff. And Scott, who is a new member on YouTube, was actually on the ride with us and stuff. And I hope he had a good time. He must not have been too offended by anything we did, because he came out and hung out with us down at the strip afterwards for several hours. So we had a good time. We went down to the strip by the time we got back from the Stover Loop, they were closing up shop. Craig was gone. He'd done booked out and everything.
I'm old. I needed my nap.
Veteran Biker says, "What's up, guys?" Jerry the River Bluff Bagger guy says, "Bar stops, I'm in." So come on down.
Speaking of bars, did you go to the Big Dick's halfway in this time?
No, but I did see the sign for it. But it's 5 miles down that road off the route, so it's a 10-minute detour, and I just not sure if it was okay to get off the route, since they gave me turn-by-turn directions of where to take the route.
I'll take you there on Bike Fest.
That sounds like a good time. The monkeys are inbound. So Pro Monkey, I want to give a big shout out to the monkey and say thanks for redirecting over to our live after his premiere and stuff. We are up to 61 people. So I'm sure a bunch of that's because people just followed this link over and they're like, what the kind of shit show is this? And where's the monkey? But anyway, so we've been talking about the Ozark Rides Rally, and it was a good time. It always is. I mean, there's a lot of things to do, and of course your guided rides and things like that. But I think that, like you said, the weather had a lot to do with it this particular weekend. And I think people need to remember the intent of this ride, and that's why it's called the Rides Rally, is to give people a chance to ride and explore the area around the lake that they might not be familiar with.
That's right.
I've said it 100 times. The Lake of the Ozarks is designed for large groups of people. It's what it is. And it has the potential to be a phenomenal location for a very large national motorcycle rally.
I think eventually it'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about stuff real quick, before we get into the Highway King, the Fast Johnnie bikes, and the Sidecar discussion, Craig, you're new on here. I got an echo from somewhere.
Yeah, we do have an echo.
I'm a firecracker. I'm going to mute you for a second and see if it's my voice coming through your mic. So no echo.
I don't hear an echo.
Yeah, it's coming.
No,
she's upstairs and 30 feet away, but I just unmuted you, but maybe turn your gain down a little bit. See if that'll help. If it's picking up my voice.
Is that better?
Do you guys hear the echo still?
No.
Nope, that's better. There we go. Problem solved.
Killing it.
So anyway, the idea of the rally is really to show people everything that's going on in this area to ride and do and stuff. And I think we have a great area to ride around the lake and stuff. And that was probably not my favorite route. I'd like to go up through St. Elizabeth and back around through some of that area and stuff. I think that's really
a much better route.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk to Jack, and if he might be in the chat, but if Jack is in the chat, I want to ask him if I can pick my own route next year, and it'll be a special one. And if I have to sponsor it or get somebody to sponsor it to let me know what we've got to do, and I get to pick the route and pick the stops, and it'll be a riding in the Ozark style route.
There you go.
So, April has set that up to mute you. So that's Terry from Road Rush Nation. They came out and hung out. The Miss Monkeys up in here. I'm sure Mr. Monkey's probably in here or should be on his way in if he's not, but I think he'll be in or here at least in the side chat. So Craig, tell him real quick while we got 40 people still before they all realize we suck and get off here.
You're going to let me talk. You're going to lose your audience.
We're going to let them tell you where to find you and what you do.
Well, you can find it online. We are the #1 online source for motorcycle riding in the Ozarks. And I created all of these rides over several years. We have more ride maps than any other source that you can find. Pretty much from Lake of the Ozarks south to as far south as Mena, Arkansas. And every single ride that we have on the website, I have personally taken and drew them up on what I consider to be, better rides. Anybody can go down the highway. These are the back roads, the roads that are so seldom traveled. And that's what I really enjoy doing in my retirement, is just going out. And people often ask me, well, where are you going today? Well, I'm going home. I just don't know how I'm getting there, even though I'm starting from home,
Yeah, it might take me 6 hours, but I'm going home.
6 hours or 6 days. But that's what's happening. Yeah. So we've had this website for quite a few years. And one day I decided, I need to do something different. So how about a podcast? Not really thinking that was a good idea. I thought eventually, well, maybe it just add a little something to the website, an extra feature or something. Boy, if I could just get 25, people downloading that podcast, man, wouldn't that be something? We've been doing it about 4 years now. And I don't know if I'm proud of this or it disturbs me. But we average just almost 500,000 downloads a month on 2 episodes a month. And wow. As I was telling Mike, it makes me weep for the future of society that people find this stupid little podcast even remotely interesting. So we do one twice a month, keep it down to a half an hour, because Randy, my podcast partner, and we have short attention spans. So we figure that a lot of people perhaps do. But that's really all it is. I mean, getting into this media side of it is rather new to me. We're going to start broadcasting the podcast via video, via YouTube. That should probably start up next month. And, it's just been a lot of fun. We do a lot of stuff with Schmidt Law. We travel around and go to events that they are part of. They've been a great sponsor for quite a while. And, we just have fun with it.
So if you guys need something you can listen to while you're driving and not be watching and getting in trouble, then that would be the show to do. I listen to them guys on the podcast platform. He's going to work on a video version of it. So that'll be coming. That'll be interesting and stuff. But, what's really fun is when him and Randy get into the debate about Harley versus everything else, because Randy is team Harley and Craig is not. So
I am team Victory, AKA team Indian. I like to bust his balls about it, and we have a lot of fun with it. I like to tease him with a nominal fact that a lot of people don't know, that Victory, which of course was made by Polaris, was the last all-American made motorcycle. Even Indian is not completely American made. Same with Harley, same with them all. And it's a matter of, finances and marketing and things like that. But he hates it when I do that. And I like busting his chaps over it.
So speaking of Harley and Indian and Victory, I dropped a video this weekend talking about Harley's Icon King, and what they announced this bike, and they left, I thought, something pretty interesting out. And it kind of feels like Harley doesn't want to promote it or want people to know about it, even though they're doing it. And that is that they have a sidecar option. So some of the dealers had the option to order a paint matched sidecar to match this limited edition Road King, Highway King bike. And Harley didn't bring it up at all. I mean,
I wonder why they didn't.
Well, and here's my thing, and why I went out with the story is because if you went out and spent $27,000 on a limited edition Road King, and then you found out later that you could have bought a color matched sidecar, and they didn't tell you after you bought that, wouldn't you might maybe be upset?
That kind of grind on me just a trifle.
How would you feel, Firecracker? She's being too quiet. I'm gonna call her out.
No shit. Speak up, woman.
I don't think I'd really care because I probably won't ever use a sidecar, to be honest. And that's just more money I got to spend.
Well, our friend, oops, here, shrunk everybody. Bert the biker dog. We were talking about he's riding on the back of the bike for now, but how long can he get away with that? How long can he continue to ride on the back? And you see a lot of animals riding in sidecars. So if that was something you were looking at doing, and you're looking at that option, well, that's a really cool bike, but that's not going to help keep my service animal riding for 5 more years with me. And then you found out later, oh, well, if you bought it at the right dealership, it will. And just by the way, I'm going to throw this out there because Lake Ozark said I could. They will have a color matched icon model with a sidecar at Lake of the Ozarks Harley Davidson whenever they get it. They don't know when they're going to get it. It's going to be orange. So if you're looking for an orange one with a matching sidecar, give Jack a call. I think Pig Trail Harley Davidson's going to have one, but I don't know what color or when they're going to get it either. But there are going to be some dealerships that have them with the sidecars. There's some dealerships that have already gotten them in some videos I've seen, but they didn't have them with sidecars.
And the cool thing about it is they're vintage looking sidecars. I mean, they match the bike, from the early 60s or late 60s. They pair up very well.
Yeah, they're made by Champion. I had a lot of comments on there about people thought a sidecar would be cool, that some people have one or had one. Some guy I think's got a 2009 or 2011 Road King with a sidecar on there. He's got a whole bunch of bikes, but he rides that one 70% of the time. That's the one he likes to ride the most. He's got a live wire and other bikes. It's not that he needs a 3-wheeler, at least from the way it sounded in the comment. He just likes it.
Well, one of the things you mentioned in an earlier video that you had, it's a nice alternative to a trike.
Yeah. It's a alternative to a trike. I mean, it's not, it's cheaper than, I bet it's going to be cheaper than a trike as well. So
it would have to be.
Yeah. I think, and then it's going to be a limited edition. So I think that's really cool. And I think that is what, people need to remember. It's not for everybody. It's for certain people.
Right.
Yeah. If it keeps somebody riding, then it's a good thing.
That keeps them on the road.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. I mean, what Jerry's girlfriend tell you, Firecracker, about riding with Jerry?
She doesn't ride. She won't ride on a regular bike with him. But if he would buy a trike, then she would ride with him.
Think she would ride with him if she had a sidecar? I mean, her concerns, he broke his hip in an accident and he's still recovering and going through therapy and everything. But I think that's why she's afraid partially to ride with him and stuff.
No, also because she had open heart surgery and she was told that she shouldn't, which I don't know what the difference of being behind him on the regular motorcycle and on a trike would be in that situation. But that's her opinion. So be it.
But yeah, there are people like that might, maybe their wife would go or their girlfriend would go more if they were a sidecar or trike situation than a regular bike.
Absolutely. It gives them more of a comfort level.
Yeah. And I personally think sidecars look a lot cooler than a trike. Now I'm going to tell you, I've never, ever rode a trike until Saturday.
I'm surprised you didn't tip it over.
Well, I had the counterbalance weight.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that kept it from tipping. So to spoil the surprise, because they know they were there, I did 3 demo rides Saturday while Harley had the demo truck there. That was the thing we forgot to mention, that demo truck there. I mean, that's like an adult amusement playground when you bring a demo truck and say, who wants to ride brand new motorcycles for free? Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I rode the Nightster Special with the new gauge, and they have raised handlebars, and that improves I thought the Nightster's ergonomics were better than the Sportster S to begin with, and with the raised handlebars on this Nightster Special, definitely better. The ergonomics were actually, pretty damn comfortable. The bar height, I think they nailed it. I think it's good. I really enjoyed riding the Nightster Special. It doesn't sound like a traditional Harley. And if you want that potato, that you're not going to get it. But if you want something that when you hit 6,000 RPM makes you slide back in the seat a little bit, that's the bike for you, because it's got it. It has that still.
Did you try the Pan American?
There may be a video of me riding, not in the USA, or at least not admitting I was in the USA, doing 0 to 100 in under 10 seconds on a Pan America. And that wasn't even in sport mode.
Really?
I rode a Pan America, but it was in one of those goofy little, where I had to follow the guy in front of me.
I got to ride one for 3 or 4 hours with no supervision.
Nice.
What'd you think of it?
Now take this with a grain of salt, because I'm not a sport bike rider, and I never have been a sport bike rider. I've never owned a sport bike, but it's what I would imagine a sport bike that was capable of going off-road would ride like. I mean, great suspension, fast. Fast. It's, it's pretty wicked fast. And I've rode some 120 horsepower bikes, so it's pretty wicked fast. And, but like I said, when I had to get out in traffic down below the dam, and it was at 5:00 on a Friday at Lake of the Ozarks, and I knew I was going to have to just hammer to get out in traffic down there. And so I took it out of sport mode and put it in normal mode, because I wanted to really be able to gun it, but I didn't want it, I didn't have to worry about the front end coming off the ground and having to let off of it. I wanted to really be able to get in it and stay in it. So I put it in normal mode and just hammered it. And I got, 45 mile an hour down the shoulder before I knew it, and could get into traffic and just wheezed on in. But then I had a little gap, so I just stayed in it, and I hit 0 to 60. I put a clock timer on it in the video in less than 10 seconds. 0 to 100. I'm sorry.
0 to 100. That's
0 to 100.
sporting.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're a lawbreaker.
Now, have you ever ridden the Africa Twin?
I've not gotten to ride the Africa Twin yet.
I was wondering how they compared.
Yeah, I don't know. I have rode the Rebel 1100 though, which is basically the same motor, but I rode it on the street, not off road or anything like that. So a little different gearing, but really cool. Scott says the 73-year-old man I bought my Road King from had a Road Glide with the sidecar. His wife rode in it. And that's what I think is, where these things are, they're only going to make 2,000 of them, and probably less than half of them will have a sidecar on it. So it's at 1 in 1,000. That's who it's for. But I think it's a cool option.
It is. I ran into an old couple at the Ozark Rides Rally. They were old enough that I could have been their child. Now that's pretty, and they were still riding. Now they had just gone to a trike, but she had mentioned that how neat it would be. They would even prolong it even more if they had a sidecar. Yeah. So I think Harley needs to promote that just a little bit more for their benefit.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing, and somebody had let this out, and I have not tracked it down, but they put it in my comments on that video. But apparently Brad Richards posted on Instagram. And if you don't know who Brad Richards is, he's the VP of design for Harley Davidson. He posted on Instagram like 2 years ago, and he was riding like a 68 motorcycle with a sidecar, or at least it looked like that. It may have been a modern version. I haven't found the photo or whatever, but it was a prototype, they said. So, they made the comment that Harley's testing this stuff right underneath our nose, and we're not picking up on it. That he, like 2 years ago, was riding something like what they now came out with. So I think that's cool. All right, guys, we're going to sign off here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We are at 61 people. It's been a great night, a great view count and stuff. And I hope you guys have all enjoyed the show. And we'll normally do this on Tuesday nights, but we had some scheduling conflicts. So probably 2 weeks from now, I'll be trying to do this again. Maybe get Charlie on again, be right before the Ozark Rumble Rally, so he can give us any updates for any new changes or anything else going on with that and stuff. And want to thank everybody for tuning in. We wouldn't be doing this without you. You are why we do it.